Hello, good morning. It's another beautiful work on Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Samson Balogun is my name. I'm not introducing you today.
Anyways, I'm blushing. I always want him to introduce me. You know I'm beautiful. I am your on-air point of correction,
Okay.
You know, filling in the gaps.
I already used the word beautiful for something else, for Daybreak Live, so meaning...
You can still use for me.
Okay, beautiful.
Beautiful. All right, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. We welcome you again. And of course, this is your morning tonic, which you wouldn't want to miss. My name is Pat Aitu, and I have my handsome Bobo here. Samson.
Thank you. So how was your weekend?
You can take thank you.
How was the weekend?
Well, my weekend was great. I had a lot to do. And you?
Action-packed, right? I said it was action-packed.
Action.
You actually attended some events and then, had.
I am not like you.
All right.
You know, I was seeing everything, but I kept short.
No, you did not see my status updates. But then
I
you saw that of the general manager. It was it was a weekend full of
if you
action.
say fabulous, fantastic, that's a word, or you use absolutely.
Well, that way, that takes us to something really important,
yes,
which we want to talk about this morning. And we'll be talking about money, not just money, we are talking about big money here. Last week, it was in the papers that Nigeria has fully repaid the COVID-19 loan, which they received from IMF during COVID-19 pandemic. That was 2020, under the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari back then. But then, it was in the news last week that Nigeria has fully repaid that loan.
And we are jubilating.
Absolutely. It's actually worth jubilating. The question now is, what impact is a debt-free economy? What impact does it have on ordinary Nigerians? And then what does it mean for a country like Nigeria? So that's exactly what we'll be discussing this morning. Well,
let me talk more about this. Mr. Christian Ibeke, the IMF resident representative for Nigeria, and said that the repayment was completed on the 30th of April 2025, and the loan was disbursed in April 2020 and was aimed to helping Nigeria address a sharp fall in the prices of oil and economic contraction and physical pressure caused by the pandemic. So some people have been coming out to say, especially the Delta APC, they maintain that the payment was a powerful statement of Nigeria's resurgence as a sovereign economic powerhouse.
Yeah, that's actually true. The question we should be asking is, why do countries borrow? Why do countries need to borrow? And then a typical example, what implication does it have for the country? A typical example was what happened during COVID-19 pandemic. And one of the reasons you can actually borrow as a country is to finance your budget, especially
because the economy was shut down totally.
Yeah, especially when you know that what you have projected, the country wasn't going to make it internally. So you need something to cushion the effect of that. That's when you go out to borrow. Also, to do that, you can also borrow to invest in infrastructure. So if you feel like there's infrastructural deficit in your country and you feel, okay, once we get this done, there is ample time to repay, and then you can actually borrow.
And I think most especially what that money was meant for was the health part of the country, because and I heard some of the workers, the health workers, were still clamoring for the health hazard.
The idea is when you borrow, because the health sector needs to be shaken, be brought back to shape, and then probably infrastructural deficits in that part too, in terms of medical machines needed. It is important that these monies are spent exactly on what it is meant for. To be, yes, so that in situations like this, Nigerians won't just be happy that we have actually repaid the loans. They will also be happy that those monies were actually spent on what they planned to spend them on. Because many a times you realize that your country has actually borrowed, and then you begin to ask questions: where is the money you borrowed?
Then maybe you and I should just look at it. Let's travel down to our health sector. Have you seen any changes?
The problem is Nigerians aren't looking at the primary health care.
No. I want yes or no. Have you?
Well, I haven't seen enough. I haven't seen, let me put it that way, because the idea is to have at least one primary health care center in a community. Now, if you check your communities now, you realize the fact that you don't have enough primary health care centers. And then even if you have some, in what shape are these primary health care centers? Do they have, are there still beds in these areas? Is it conducive for patients to actually come in here and be treated? Do you have enough doctors? Are there enough nurses in this place? Don't forget, this is an area where there is a lot of news that there is brain drain in the country. Nigerian nurses are traveling abroad. Nigerian doctors are leaving the country en masse. So it's a question of, if the country is borrowing, to what effect is this borrowing?
We're even looking at the what's it called, health centers now.
Centers.
Not going to our big hospitals.
The major hospitals.
We have the likes of UCH, the Rabah, Deoyo, and the rest.
This year, there has been commotion in that part, saying there is no water, and then there was electricity. This, I think, the idea, what I think is that the government should make sure that if it's about electricity, major hospitals like that, major healthcare centers like that should actually probably be taken off the national grid if the national grid is not going to be able to supply them the kind of electricity they need, which is 24/7. There is a room for solar installations. You can actually make that happen in that.
Do not forget that the solar will not circulate.
No, it can be enough. It depends on what you are investing.
Because I was at UCH some months ago, and we're actually looking for how to charge our phones. And they brought light. I was like, you know, the normal, up NEPA. Like, no, it's solar.
Well, I think the installation
and as of that time, the federal government said we've intervened and they're going to have electricity 24/7. Getting there, it's still the same. Let's not talk about the mosquitoes. You are there for treatments, and before you go, you have malaria.
The point now is we don't just have to talk about these things. The government has to take action on some major things that is bordering on health.
We should talk about it so that our government will take action.
See, the point is, people will continue to tell you that they have actually talked about
we'll
this.
Continue
but
talking.
then where's the action?
We'll continue talking until we'll see the action.
Okay, now, another reason the government can actually borrow is to boost the economic growth. It's just another way of the government to say, look, we want to grow as an economy. We want to have an independent economy, just like recently when the president declared Nigeria first economy, meaning that you must patronize a Nigerian product before you think of an imported one. So if you want to stabilize that kind of economy, you might need a loan to help some small-scale businesses to actually thrive, maybe stabilize them, and then in return, they get to employ more people.
And that was where we talked about
tax
waivers for them.
All right. All right, so that takes us away from this segment of this show this morning. Thank you for being a part of this show so far. Don't forget you can be a part of the conversation by linking up with us on our YouTube channel. Watch us live, subscribe to that YouTube channel, and then drop a comment. You can also link up with us on all other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at DominionCast. Don't forget you can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. We now head straight to our news desk this morning as Ronkegiwa Onofua is waiting to give us major updates. We'll be back after this time out.
Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafua. Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, has called for stronger international collaboration to ensure a sustainable and inclusive global energy transition, urging stakeholders to move beyond rhetoric and take decisive action. Speaking at the high-level Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD Forum in Paris, Dr. Alake emphasized the pivotal role of mineral-rich countries like Nigeria in driving the transition to greener energy sources that will power the future of electricity, transportation, and digital infrastructure. Alake also stressed that mining must be reimagined through the lens of sustainability, prioritizing smarter site selection, efficient operations, waste reduction, and environmental protection, not only as a policy goal but as an obligation to future generations. The Nigerian army has arrested at least 12 persons in connection with acts of terrorism carried out by a breakaway group of the Boko Haram insurgents known as Mahmuda, which reportedly occupied the Garji Lake National Park. The group had before now allegedly maimed, exploited, terrorized and took advantage of residents of neighboring border communities in the Barutin and Kingama local government areas of Kwara and Borgo local government area of Niger State. The general officer commanding 2 Division, Obinna Onubogu, who recently visited the camps in Kayama and Barutin local government areas of Kwara State, disclosed this during a visit to have first-hand information about how the officers and men are faring, as well as get updates on the operation. The Academic Staff Union of Universities has condemned widespread institutional weaknesses, bureaucratic inefficiencies, and pervasive corruption in Nigeria, which compromise government at all levels. ASU National President Emmanuel Oshodeke expressed concern over the lack of inclusiveness, transparency and accountability in governance during the union's 23rd National Delegates Conference at the University of Benin main campus, Ubo. Oshodeke highlighted the country's worsening conditions, which he claims is due to the government's adoption of neoliberal economy policies, leading to issues like apathy, cynicism, and mass migration among the youth. He questioned the genuineness of the government's reforms, stating that the ongoing brain drains, where professionals and young graduates are seeking better opportunities abroad, is a clear indication of the failure of national policies and a testament to poorly conceived reforms. Now, Air Peace has successfully carried out a mission to repatriate 78 Nigerian women trafficked to Côte d'Ivoire under false pretenses of employment. The airline deployed an aircraft which departed Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, on Saturday and landed at Felix Houphouët-Boigny International Airport, Abidjan, before returning with the victims on the same day entirely free of charge. In a statement issued yesterday, Air Peace Chairman Allen Oyema announced that the women would receive comprehensive medical care free of charge, and Air Peace will cover all expenses, not just testing, but any treatment required. Now, the Oyo State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has raised an alarm over impending food shortage in the state. The party made the protestation in a statement signed by its publicity secretary, Wasiu Olawale Shadari. APC noted that conversion of farmlands to real estate poses impending food shortage and danger of food insecurity in the state. Now, a truck has been raised by fire in one of the mechanic workshops in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. It was gathered that the incident occurred on Saturday at Oyebamiji Transport Services, Sonyo, along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Chairman of the Oyo State Fire Service, Honorable Moruf Akinwande, confirmed the incident, stating that no casualty was recorded when the truck was engulfed by fire and the fire service restricted it from spreading to nearby properties. Ekiti State Government has charged contractors handling government projects across the state to adhere strictly to project specifications and approve timelines on the projects. The Director General, Bureau of Public Procurement, James Folorunsho, stressed the Governor Biodun Oyebanji administration is committed quality jobs, also stating such would stand the test of time and make positive impact on the lives of the people. Folorunsho disclosed this while monitoring some ongoing projects, including the Ekiti State International Center for Arts and Culture, revenue building, indoor sports, and House of Assembly complex renovation works. And now in business. The Office of the National Security Advisor said that the federal government is committed to achieving crude oil production target of 2.5 million barrels per day. The National Security, Nuhu Ribadu, made this statement in Yenogwa during a stakeholders meeting. Ribadu explained that stiffer action was allegedly being taken against oil vandals threatening national assets and local communities. And talking sports, Flying Eagles defenders Daniel Bameyi and Odinaka Okoro have been included in the official best 6 of the group stage at the ongoing 2025 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. The selection was made by the Confederation of African Football, technical study group of the competition. Centre-back Bameyi has been one of Nigeria's outstanding performers in Egypt and was named man of the match in the Flying Eagles' 0-0 draw against Morocco. Okoro has been a rock for Aliyu Zubairu's side in the defence. The left-back has caught the eye with his defensive prowess and superb attacking play and has registered 1 assist in the competition. Nigeria will be in action in a quarter-final fixture against Senegal at the Suez Canal Stadium, Ismailia, today. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominioncast. That ends Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I'm Ronke Giwa Onofuwa. Good morning.
Welcome back from that. That was Daybreak News with Ronke Giwa Onofuwa on Dominion Television, your channel of choice where inspiration meets entertainment. We now take major stories on the pages of the newspaper this morning. Don't forget, you can be a part of the conversation by subscribing to our YouTube channel, watch us live, drop a comment, and then link up with us on all other social media platforms too, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It is at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominioncast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Now we take you through the major stories on the pages of the newspaper this morning. I'll be starting with the Punch newspaper. FG, that's ex-AGF, 11 sons as Supreme Court battle looms. Supreme Court may release hearing dates today. PDP governors, legal team prepares as AGF says governors forum lack locals standing. Okay, that story is on the Punch newspaper this morning.
And as we're even talking about the AGF, I think it was a former senior advocate of Nigeria and the AGF that's talking about Chief Akin Olujimi and others. Let's see the outcome of the whole thing, how it will play out, and of course we're waiting for the whole thing to come out fine.
Right.
To come out fine. Right, from Punch, we still have this. PDP installs new BOT members as governors map party direction.
That's on page 9 of the Punch newspaper. We think this, FG makes U-turn, endorses Senate Security Summit. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper.
And beside that, we have why Jonathan won't run against Tinubu in 2027. And that's Patient Jonathan saying that. It's on page 7 of the Punch.
Well, it was in the news yesterday. She made the claim that she was going to support
President
the
Tinubu.
president, for the next election. So, also, the suspended governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, is in the news this morning. I am not desperate to return as Rivers governor. That is on page 9 of the Punch newspaper this morning.
But I think he was saying that during the a program meant for this late Edwin Clark.
He said the spirit has left the office. So
no, he was even trying to tell the supporters to just calm down. That he is not. That was why that statement came out. That he is not desperate to go back as the governor of the state, whatever it is. But he wants his supporters to
calm down. Okay.
All right, we have this Aiyedatiwa Makinde Bamidele salute Afenifere leader Fasharati at 99.
Wow, that's massive. That's on page 40 of the Punch newspaper this morning. All right, I will take this. FG states add 57 trillion naira to debt in 18 months. That story is on page 31 of the Punch newspaper this morning.
And lastly, will that be the last? Yes, lastly on the Punch newspaper, we have NCAA under fire after plane strikes Antelope on taxiway.
Right. Away from there, we take the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And the major headline on the Nigerian Tribune says, Wike, Ikpeazu, Ogwai, Autumn attend PDP governors meeting. Saraki, Tambuwa, Lamido, Oyinlola, Udom also in attendance. That story is on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. Also, it is worthy of note that former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, who is now
the minister of the FCT.
Has a job with the the current administration, which is the APC. He is still claiming to be a member of the PDP. So, well, it was at the meeting yesterday. We do hope that it's going to turn out fine. Yeah.
All right. Oh, still on Nigerian Tribune, we have this. We've read that it's virtually in all the newspapers this morning. I am not going back to Aso Rock. Will campaign with Remi Tinubu in 2027. Still patient, Jonathan.
All right. Also, still here, Ishekiri Yoruba. We need to work together. Alaafin, Warri chiefs, others meet Oyo traditional ruler. That story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
Well, MPA denies corruption allegations, says no misapplication of budgetary provisions. That's on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, on the top left corner of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, on his over INEC's delay of conduct to conduct by-election in 12 states, 2 Senate seats, 5 rep seats, 9 other constituencies affected. That story is on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
And this one to health cancer before age 50 increasing in Nigeria. Experts raise alarm.
Okay, FG frustrating GIFMEs to blackmail us for rejecting IPPIS. ASU alleges. That story is on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
All right, lastly from the Nigerian Tribune is coming from Similarly Fubara. That's I'm not desperate to return, my spirit has already left there.
Okay, let me take this before we go.
I guess that's not last then.
Obi, how Nigeria can become beacon of hope for Africa, blames setback on incompetent, uncommitted leadership. That story is on the top right corner of the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
All right, away from the Nigerian Tribune, we'll go straight to The Guardian. And from the front page of The Guardian, we have 2.37 trillion naira data expenses compete with food. Others as Nigerians ration usage. That's on page 6 of The Guardian.
Okay, away from there, we take this. NPA debunks multi-billion naira corruption allegation. And that story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Oh, we have this. The factions. Wike joins PDP governors meeting in last-ditch effort to save party.
All right. ASU raises a concern over corruption. Weak institutions. Tasked FG. That story also on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Well, you are future president, but fight corruption first. Obi tells African youth, and that's on page 3 of The Guardian.
Okay, Serap seeks CBN's disclosure on released funds to LGA's river councils. That story is on page 7. Serap seeks CBN's disclosure on released funds to LGA's river councils. That story is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Well, the last part, I mean the left corner side of the Guardian, we have PDP accuses Imo government of wasting 2.1 billion naira on pilgrimage.
All right. Also, this has been a trend in Nigeria. Most state governors tend to sponsor people to pilgrims, be it Jerusalem, be it Mecca. It depends on which one where you belong, your religion actually. So there's always been a trend in Nigeria. So if there are complaints now in Imo states, I think this is a wake-up call to every other state. If that's a way, if there's a way to actually
wake-up calls for.
Well, if there's a way to work around it to make sure that at least it doesn't affect the budget in the state, it's they don't budget too much that will not affect infrastructure.
Do not forget that we're a religious country. Well, we always believe that everything is God first, God first, God first. It's good, but then look at our system. After claiming that, oh, in everything we do, God's first. What has been the result? Well,
I think it's only in Nigeria that you start a meeting, you start with prayer, you lie to everyone, and then close with prayer again. So it is not a new thing that this is happening in Nigeria. But then I just feel like there's a way to go about it that we will not have.
They already know a way to get out of this, but some of them are still eating out of that.
Okay. Away from there this morning, let me take this. LG poll, protest trail APC primaries over alleged imposition of candidates. That story is on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Well, I wouldn't want to read this, but let me just read. Dame Jonathan, that's Patience Jonathan, endorses Tinubu for 2027 poll.
Well, it's in the news. That then the other people reported it differently, saying she was going to campaign with Remi Tinubu, for Senator Remi Tinubu, who is the wife of the president.
If you're ready to campaign, that means you've endorsed this person.
That's endorsement. Whether you have said it publicly or openly, or then you
or
are trying
indirectly or behind closed doors.
Okay. Also, we take this. All right. I think that's the last story on the Guardian newspaper this morning. We now head straight to another paper, which is the Daily Times. Our campaign for Tinubu in 2027. Patience Jonathan.
That one is a big banner.
It's a big banner story there. That's on page 2 of the Daily Times this morning.
Well, we have this article, 2027 article conditionally fit to run. That's former spokesperson Show Me.
Well, constitutionally, yes, it's fit to run, and then the election is around the corner. Let's see what happens there. All right, crude oil theft. We have sent over 100 pipeline vandals to prison. That's coming from the NSA. That story is on page 9 of the Daily Times this morning. Well,
we have this Oborevere hails late Edwin Clark as national icon. Urges Nigeria to emulate his legacy.
Okay, let me take this before we leave the Daily Times this morning. Police nabbed 2 brothers for abducting, robbing man of 70 million naira in Delta. It's on page 7 of the Daily Times this morning. That takes us to this day.
Yes. Well, these days, Rwani, Nigeria has too many unutilized airports. I agree with the man.
Yeah, of course. It's a truth. It's of a truth that we have many airports that is being underutilized in the country. Some of them are being upgraded to international airports, just like that of Oyo State, and some other states too. We now have cargo airports in the country. I think if there are upgrades, maybe they are going to put it to use more. Don't forget, even Nigerians, even an average Nigerian prefers to travel out of the country, either Lagos or Abuja. So they do that on most times. So if maybe if there's a facelift in these other airports, maybe they'll be drawn to actually fly. You see someone who wanting to travel from Enugu, come to Lagos, and then from Lagos then travel. And then it happens in some other airports too. If you put a test out there to ask people, how many airports do we have? Do you know that the only airport they will tell you is Murtala Mohammed? Then some can say, okay, Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport in Abuja. And some that are from the north will tell you, okay, Kano, Aminu, Kano. You see, the problem is not the people. The problem has a lot to do with the government. And then the fact that we do not have a maintenance culture in Nigeria, let me say in Africa, because with all the money being spent on this airport, will we be able to maintain them? For how many years, if you have spent billions of naira on this airport, for how many years will you be able to make use of this airport? And even continuity. Do you understand? Continuity. If the other government is from one party and the one that comes in is from another party, will that person be able to continue that good work? Well, I think not being able to continue from where an administration stopped has been it has never panned well for any Nigerian government. It has always been a disaster, because you realize you have so many unfinished projects out there that then when you ask questions, oh, it was so government that started it, and then what is happening? What happened to this project since another administration came on board? So I think the idea of continuity should be should be preached and be imbibed. Yeah. All right. Away from there, this morning, we take this story. 2027, Patience Jonathan rules out husband's return to Aso Rock, endorses Tinubu. Also, the writers on the story says president wife supported Jonathan in 2011, so it's payback time. Insists on power rotation, urges other to step back. That story is on page 5 of this day newspaper this morning. Alake is saying something here. Alake, Tinubu's reforms yielded 6.9 billion naira revenue in mining license fees in the first quarter. And with the rider processed nearly 1,000 title applications with hundreds of licenses approved. Well, not just the licenses. are Nigerians going to benefit from these minings? So if there are more companies who are coming to mine, natural resources in Nigeria, yes, there is a large deposit of that in the country. Then to what will Nigerians benefit if these revenues actually eventually come?
You're going too far. The question will be, because all the whatever, they will remit everything to the federal government. What about the states they're mining from?
Where these resources
the miners
are
actually.
Well, the idea is if Nigeria practices true federalism, I think there's a huge chunk of that, the proceeds that should actually go to the state.
The state.
But then it's Nigeria, everything goes up, then being shared to, to states, to local governments. So it means that probably if the summit is done, probably the implementation of the national confab, results.
You're so much concerned about
of course,
the confab.
There has been so many calls that presidents should revisit the national confab.
Well, that's the light of the day with this administration?
Yeah, it was done under the Goodluck Jonathan administration. And then President Muhammadu Buhari was actually in office for 8 years. Nothing was said about the result of the national confab. Now, you have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office. I think he should, even if he's not going to do 100% implementation, he should look at, things that can... Yeah. That are so important that needs to be done in the country. As we speak, so many people yes, it's a good thing that economically statistics keep saying Nigeria is getting better, but then has it had an effect on the common man on the streets? The price of food, and do we have good roads like we would expect Nigeria to see? And then when you look at the health sector, has it affected the health sector in any way? So these are questions an average Nigerian will continue to ask.
Well, I think I will align your thought with the story that has been the big banner that's been on the front pages of the newspaper this morning. That's talking about Patience Jonathan saying that, I will campaign for Tinubu. Maybe when they sit together, they will be able to say, people have been talking about confab. Why won't you implement it? Well, I get that.
Let's see
that's
what happens.
That's a positive thought this morning from Samson.
Let me take this one. Tinubu hosts political stakeholders from Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara. You find it on this day newspaper this morning.
Well, down below, we have this: NSA vows prompt prosecution of vendors, oil thieves as PINL meets stakeholders.
All right, away from this day newspaper this morning, we'll go straight to the Daily Independent. Despite rebound, experts see Nigeria's foreign portfolio tapering off. Says Nigeria needs more stable long-term capital. That story is on Daily Independent this morning.
Well, this one is coming from Daily Independent as well. PDP governors raised Saraki-led committee to reconcile aggrieved members before NEC. Say defection forcing governors, others to come together.
Okay, away from there, NDLEA nabs woman with cocaine in, this is really in stomach, in the bags. This is something that really
in the PP.
So it's really sad that people can be so desperate to get these things out of Nigeria. It's about money.
It's money. Like you said, we were talking about money this morning. And somebody was like...
Somebody wants to make money.
All right, we have the 78 enslaved Nigerians set free, returned from Ivory Coast. That's on page 6 of the
story was everywhere yesterday, where certain...
I saw the video. Where is your passport? They're dropping it.
So, well, we do hope that this will not continue to happen. If you have Nigerians who are actually in discomfort in whichever country they have actually traveled to, I think, well, the government has been doing so well.
We'll give kudos to NITCOM. Yes.
They have been doing a good job with that. All right. Also, aviation experts cautions FG over planned regionalization of NCAT. That story is on page 6 of the Daily Independent this morning.
Well, from Daily Independent, we have this: I am disappointed with NAS under Pabio's leadership. That is Professor Itza Sage.
Well, also, Pay TV charges, Nigeria turns to alternative entertainment platforms. You'll find that story on the top left corner of the Daily Independent this morning.
Well, down below of the Daily Independent, we have Defense Minister throws weight behind NAS Security Summit.
Right, we now move straight to the Nation newspaper this morning. Rivers PDP governors are busybodies, federal government tells Supreme Court. That story is on page 4 of the Nation newspaper.
A big banner there. We have one-party controversy down Ganduje Damagum Gam clash. Saying the riders, PDP, SDP chairman, Labour Party tackle APC chair.
Well, I think this is not new. It's a conflict of interest. The interest of the APC might not align with that of the SDP or the Labour Party. So these will always be on the paper. If there is anything they are not comfortable with, I think
they will need to sort it out.
They will need to sort it out. All right. Also, on the Nation newspaper this morning, Antelope runs into plane at Asaba Airport. Experts fault managers. That story is on the Nation newspaper this morning.
What is Antelope looking for?
Well, I think the blame actually goes to the managers of the airport. They felt people are saying, well, this is not something that shouldn't have happened.
Well, is there a space for zoological garden there, madam?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's just because they have bushes around there, and they feel like they should have done a better job.
It's exactly what's the other story we read, that it's underutilized. Our airports. Well, we have this Alake seeks sustainable energy transition.
All right, moving on to Vanguard newspaper this morning. There are a lot of stories on Vanguard newspaper, and we'll take this one. FG ramps up domestic borrowing to 10.85 trillion naira. That's on page 22, and the rider says shifts borrowing preference to TBs amidst high interest rates. Also, deficits to escalate as oil revenue underperforms. Analysts disagree over impact of GDP rebasing on debt ratio. You find that story on Vanguard newspaper this morning.
Well, the factions, 7 PDP governors, Wike former governors, others mates on survival, and there are lots of them here. Riders, we have Eno, Kefas, Diri, Fubara, Breast absent, internal forces sabotaging articles, quiet efforts to destabilize PDP.
Okay, away from there this morning, those are major absentees actually, because Governor of Rivers State, that of Bayelsa, of Akwa Ibom, they are conspicuously missing at the meeting, so yes, that must mean something.
Fubara will want to say, I am not the governor.
I'm not sitting.
Well, we have a sole, you have a sole administrator there.
But then if you put all this together and look at what it means, has publicly given his support to the president. Fubara
it said that in his dialect.
Of course.
Like, oh, we're actually following you.
Well, when you look at Fubara, he has an issue with the federal government that is yet to be resolved. That is also meant something. And Diri of Bayelsa State, you can't actually say why he's not there. Maybe for a reason that he has not made public. But then, I think the names here actually means something. The absence actually means a lot.
Like when we have the G5 then.
The G5 then. All right, away from there, we'll take another story this morning. LG poll, protest trail Lagos APC primaries over Baba Sokwe's influence. That's how it has been reported this morning on Vanguard newspaper. So that still means in possession.
Oh, I don't know why they're just coming with this. It has been that from time immemorial. It has always been like this.
Well, I feel like, a time will come that people will begin to talk. They have been talking, but then they are going to be making their intentions known.
But this is the time.
Maybe this is another time to also say it exactly. There was a report yesterday that saw a video clip of an aspirant in Lagos State, a woman actually, I'll find the name. She was actually saying this will be probably the third time she was, she was asked to step down for someone. So I think some of them, majority of them were actually asked to step down for a particular candidate. So it means that there's a way they arrange things in all the local governments in there. They know who's next, they know how things are done within the APC.
So that's where the Iwolokon comes out from.
That's where it comes from.
All right, so we'll have this Nigeria, others affected as UK clamps down on care workers' visas.
All right, also...
So if you're thinking you want to travel because there's more money on that, once you do care work, we want to do care workers, they've already clamped down.
I think I saw a story yesterday where Kemi Badino
there's a clamp down on that.
Was saying,
so don't
the UK,
let anybody.
Well, she was saying the UK is not an hotel, so it means that there has to be strict deportation measures in the UK. I think there was a story like that yesterday. So it means that as much as the United States are also looking to actually clamp down on illegal migrants, that might also be happening in the UK and some other countries too. Because when you look at the current situation, the economic downturn is not peculiar to Nigeria. It's a global thing. So every country around the world are trying to see what exactly they can do to make sure that their people they actually get better. So also the Vanguard newspaper this morning, there's a story that says one-party states will be strongly resisted. Senator Bokno Akerele is in the news this morning, and that statement is credited to her.
Well, this one is on the sport. We have Eagles coach vows to cling to World Cup ticket, and the rider as they battle Senegal in quarterfinal.
All right, that's a sporting story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. The Defense Minister backtracks support Senate's Security Summit. That's on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Okay, I think that will be all. You have taken the sporting story already.
Yes, I did. Though I don't really like sport, but
you took it quite well. They are getting set for the quarterfinals, and then I think Nigerians are rooting for them to actually get past
I hope
that
we
stage.
will win this time around, because sometimes I fell in love with watching football, but at times when you keep on hailing them, you see they will just
get disappointed at the point. Well,
the last time I fully watched was this 1994 when all of them
USA 94.
Well,
if you are going to put it that way, I think it's quite important that you know that in sports, it's either you're winning, you lose, or you draw.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
You can't win all the time actually.
1994, the unity. Oh, pass, give it to this. I was like, while sitting, I was even using my leg.
Then, they did not win the competition. They crashed out eventually. So
but at least there was unity and love. Was there, not now.
Maybe people paid attention to the Super Eagles more back then than they do now.
Oh,
you know, people are really concerned.
We have the
they have so
European
many things
League, we have the Serie A.
And aside from sports, people have other things to concentrate on than,
other things like.
Actually. So football now is leisure, not totally passion like it used to be. And,
but all the same, I took the sports story this morning. So, Boluwaji Ogumola, kudos to me.
Okay, you should get a gift from Boluwaji actually.
I'll get a trophy.
Okay, all right, no problem. That takes us away from this segment of the show this morning. Yeah. Thank you for being a part of the show so far. And we'll go on a short break. And when we return, we'll delve straight into analysis on the show this morning. Don't forget, you can be a part of the conversation by linking up with us on all social media platforms. YouTube at Dominion Broadcast, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, also at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, it is at Dominioncast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. We now head straight for a short break. And when we return, Daybreak Live continues on Dominion Television.
Stay tuned.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, your channel of choice where inspiration meets entertainment. As we promised, we have a lot to unpack on this show this morning, and it is time for us to delve straight into analysis. Don't forget, this is that station where we bring you unbiased analysis and undiluted reportage. Now we have with us in the studio this morning to do justice to the major stories on the pages of the newspaper, Afolami, who is a public affairs analyst, and of course, he knows his onions when it comes to political issues. Good morning to you, Afolami.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Let's kick start with this.
Okay.
We're talking about Nigerians were jubilating when they said, "Oh, IMF came with a report that we've paid our loan." Then this is what I'll ask you now: how did Nigeria government manage to pay the $3.4 billion loan borrowed from IMF in 2020 to cushion the economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic?
Oh, what a great question there. How are we able to pay our loan? Well, having, all this while Nigeria is owing IMF, people just, the statistics is only known to people in government. Are the people at the ground, are they felt by the IMF loan? They are not. You said you have paid the loan, but we are still of the interest. You just paid the actual money. The interest is split to like 29 or so. So are we done? You are owing me 5,000, of which your interest on it is 3,500, making 8,500. You said you have paid 5,000. You will be paying the 3,500 in a spread of the next 4 years. Are you done paying my loan?
Are you not saying it is not time for Nigerians to jubilate?
Jubilate on what? On that we are still servicing the loan? But you see, we do more propaganda than more of political will, than more of impact. We are in the era of a kind of government who spend more on propaganda than how to impact the people. We talk about things that will actually impact our people. When you get a loan, normally when you go for a loan, it should be for something tangible that you can see physically and you can as well feel,
Are you saying the COVID-19 loan was not tangible enough? It was not enough reason to get it?
Okay, tell me how much hospital were built during the COVID-19. Tell me the kind of medical staff that you see around you.
I think during that period, primary health care increased, and of course
in your area, and then you can see them around in case anybody falls sick. Very easy to take them to the nearest hospital. Where I live is about 20 minutes to UCH. I pray nobody falls sick in my area. The person will die before getting to UCH. The nearest primary health care center that you can see in that area is not less than 20 kilometers far away from my place. And we are not just 5 living in that community. No, so if you want to talk about what the money was, you remember that was a period we have off your mic. And the money was not justified, couldn't be accountable for. People asked for the president, Senate president was in charge. And we are asking, how was this money spent? The loan was gotten for political reason. Those who have gotten the loan are now in government. So tell me who is servicing the loan. How has this loan impacted our life? Will you tell me that even people said that even during COVID-19, we bought things lesser than when COVID-19 is off. Now we are buying things higher. Remember, during COVID-19, Gary one Congo is still like 100 naira, 150. But now you can't go to the market and get that. You must go to the market with nothing less than 1,000 naira to buy a Congo of Gary now. So COVID-19 money has been paid, or IMF loan has been paid, but we are still servicing it. You don't get it. This is a system that is not working. Until we are able to get people who have the heart of the people in mind, who understand how the people felt. Not just, I know you're feeling, I know your pain, I will get there. No! Getting here this morning was so hectic for me because the road was still bad. People are struggling to go out. Some people are going out, going nowhere. But they just need to leave their house so that somebody will not come and knock on their door and say that the chicken at the back of our house is missing. Who would they ask? The man at home. Babalabaja, you are the one at home. Do you say our chicken flying through your hand? That is the situation we find ourselves here. The COVID-19 was not used to create jobs, was not used to create hospitals, was not used to train more medical personnel, was not used to build small health facilities closer to us.
Okay,
so tell me
let's talk about the effect of repayments on Nigeria's economy. Foreign reserve strain, that is one of the reasons. Repaying in hard currency puts pressure on Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves, especially during periods of low oil revenue or high import costs. Now, Nigeria has repaid the loan fully, but then they are still servicing. The question now is, why was fully repaid used, in quotes, that we are fully repaid when
you are still servicing the interest
going on?
So that is the propaganda on its own. You don't tell us that you are fully paid the loan when you are still servicing the interest. The interest is there. If it is to say that you have paid everything, both the loan and the interest, then we are gone. We can say, okay, Mr. President and people in government, please, for God's sake, stop borrowing from IMF.
Now, if you talk about the IMF, there is something I want to talk about when it comes to IMF and the World Bank. Nigerians have had their fair share of, bearing the brunt of borrowings in recent times. But then, when you keep borrowing, who bears the brunt? The people. But the point is, if you borrow to an extent, IMF will give you conditions, devalue your currency. Remove subsidy. And then the problem is not for the government, it's for the people. Now, what's your suggestion? Should the government stop borrowing from IMF?
I don't even...
Or they can renegotiate their terms?
See, the thing is, why borrow in the first place? When you have resources, they can take care of what you have.
Are you sure Nigeria has the resources?
We have the resources. We
don't forget that at the period. Don't forget that. Bad managers. Let me say this: at a period like that, if Nigeria keeps drawing from the foreign reserve, it means that foreign reserve will be depleted, and it will put pressure on the Nigerian currency.
Can you remember in this country, a former military president, Yakubu Gowon, said the money Nigeria has is enough to take us beyond.
That was during his time.
It is because we don't have, if that is point at the downtime
there was oil boom at the time.
Oil boom that we don't have good
Nigeria
management.
was meeting up with OPEC quota.
We don't have, we even borrow, we even gave to this IMF and World Bank people. We gave to countries, we loaned to countries, we developed many African countries. That was when we were named Giant of Africa. But we come to think about it, if we have good managers, and our rails will have been developed, our light trains will have been built, our hospitals will have been created such that you can get very small hospitals very close to you. Why will you say UK is brilliant? UK is good in terms of health fertility. They are very good there. People that travel outside the country knows that within a short period of short place to your house, you have an health care services very close to you. And with people, you don't even brag with your car because there are light trains to take you around. You don't need to oppress anybody with a jeep because you are the best. But there is a light train that can take you around your places, And this thing, we have good manager at that time. Things will have been put in place. But they loot and keep looting. Those who come after them have seen it, that the best way to get rich quickly is to continue to loot. But they've forgotten that God is up there talking about those persons who look at looting as this own motive. And one day it will just end it there.
And that's what we were saying. Everything will start with prayer, will end with prayer. God is saying all of us. Okay. Yes, 5 years down the lane, they said we've paid, but now we're still servicing. Are there any plans, to renegotiate or to restructure this future payments?
I hope our government are listening. If there are plans, the plans should start now. There should be plans to negotiate. How do you negotiate somebody you are borrowing for? First, you have entered into a plan that I'll borrow 5,000 and pay in 3 years with a loan of 3,500 making 8,500. If you need to renegotiate, you must first finish this term. So it is the next time that you will think about yourself. I don't need this money anymore. It's not favorable to my family, neither is it favorable to my friends. At that time that you have borrowed, you will not be a responsible father to your children, neither will you be a responsible father to your family, immediate family, let alone your friends and well-wishers.
Let me ask you this question.
What we can do is to look inward right now and start thinking of the next election of responsible and responsive people. They have the mind of the people at heart. They have the willpower. Look at Donald Trump. Yes, he may not give you all the kind of ideas that you expect, but he's telling the people, the world, that this country comes first. If this country comes first before anybody's mind, then you will think deeper before going outside the country, the shore of the country, go and borrow at the detriment of the people. You are not the one that will pay. It will boil down to the people, the grassroots people, the Elewedu, the Alata, the Elero, the artisans, those who don't have the mind, who are not there at the time of calling for this loan. Were you there when they were negotiating for this loan? But as the president reduced his ministers, as he reduced his commissioners, as he reduced his lavishly spendings, have you seen the family of the president, the way they talk and lavishly their money? If it is not for government, some people in the society now won't have the mouth to say anything. I said to somebody yesterday, if not for government, you will still be a job seeker. You will be throwing your CV all around, if not for politics. So that is just it. We are all for it. Can you see the brilliant mind that we have? Don't you think we have people who can do tech than what we are doing right now? Those guys in Japan, in China, in Russia, they are not of the kind of brain that we have. And that is why we have our guys looking for every means to jackpot. And that is where jackpot comes in. They jackpot to that place, they give their life to everything they want to do, and they throw the coin back home. $10,000 is just small money outside here, but when you throw it to Nigeria, you know how much it is. Because they've destroyed our economy. Our currency is nowhere to be found. We once changed, I personally once changed my Naira 150 to $1. In this country in 2003, 2004, I was changing to currencies. I was in Forex, I was taking 170 to 1,000 to $1. But right now, can I go out there to even to Malam Asabo for 170 to $1? I'll be going there for 17,000 or more than that.
That's so 10 times.
Is that 10 times? More than that. In the past, we used to talk about $100 for 50,000 naira. But $100 now is over 1,700. So where are we going from here?
Now, still talking about the loans, I want to ask you this question. Are you saying that being in business with IMF is a potential disaster for the country?
It's a potential danger disaster for us. You see, some other African countries are already taking their hook off their neck right now. And many of those countries are those who felt that this democracy of a team is not doable.
Burkina Faso
is not doable.
Niger
is not doable. They have seen it all.
These countries are taking some steps,
yes,
especially for Burkina Faso.
Yes.
They are taking steps. They are forming a community.
That is it.
And that community might not likely work with IMF, might not likely work with
World Bank.
They are saying we don't need your money. We have enough.
It is not that it.
When will Nigeria get to that stage where they will feel we have enough, we can do it by ourselves?
Our psychophants leaders, people who earn from where they don't plant. That is just it. Every president, every political era, every president in politics right now are already a beneficiary of all these people. You remember a former House of Rep person was almost everywhere on the social media that showcase his wealth through the number of cars that he has. You see him everywhere. I asked myself, I know this guy when he was in school. He was a former student and a former NAS executive at the time. And I know that if it's not for politics, this person we should still be in Oshodi, if not anywhere. Still throwing his CV all around, or be helping some people to construct at the pure water factory. But look at it. What will you do with all these cars? How many will you drive in a day? How many people have you impacted their lives? In your own state, there are poverty, stick poverty, objective, the kind of poverty that is reigning there is such that when you drive through that state, you will look around and play God.
You, Mr. Afolami, you mentioning poverty now. That's why I want to put this question to you. What steps do you think our government should take to address poverty and food insecurity despite the loan payment and we're still servicing the debt?
Many policies have been brought up to the air. But I have gone through my search to understand that these policies are meant for party members. They have gone out to tell us that they are giving money for young men. There was a time during the Buhari era, they talk about a particular money they dole out
for younger, for the youth.
For transfer. And there is a particular one. In short, a closer colleague of mine, wife became a coordinator overnight to help in distributing the money. And I was shocked. And I understand that it's all about party. Until we Nigerians understand that we need to put people that will represent us. You know, it has gone to a stage that poverty has hit our brain deep to make us lose control. Even our religious leaders campaigning for people that are not worthy into society. And that is it, beginning. Everything boils down to the government. See, if these ideas that will make this poverty go is in you, is in me, is in him. But we may not be able to put it forward until we are in government. Because this is the system at which Nigeria has been designed.
So what steps would you?
Before you take the steps, let me ask you a question. Now that will lead us to the steps she's talking about. Now, let's look at the debt composition for Nigeria. As of the latest available data from December 31st, 2024, Nigeria's total public debt stood at 134.30 trillion naira, approximately 91.35 billion US dollars. This figure represents a 10.38% increase from 121.67 trillion, which is 91.46 billion recorded at the end of the first quarter of 2024. Now, the debt composition says the external debt is 63.07 trillion naira, which is 42.90 billion US dollars, accounting for 46.96% of total debt. Now, talking about domestic debt, 71.22 trillion naira, which is 48.45 billion dollars, making 53.04 of the total debt. Now, there are state-level debts too.
Yes.
It is not just the federal government. States are borrowing too. Your state has borrowed. Ogun State has borrowed.
The way they borrow is so alarming.
They are borrowing.
So scary.
And then people are only focused on how the federal government has been borrowing. But nobody is talking about the states.
That is the problem.
But how will Nigeria navigate through the waters? Despite the fact that they are getting so much money from the federal government as a result of the removal of the fuel subsidy, states are still borrowing. What's the way forward?
This is the
and that leads us to the solution.
This is the composition of our problem. Until we get it right from the grassroots. Until me and you decide to be part and parcel of the recreation of this country, Nigeria.
Will I be invited when they want to negotiate loans with the IMF?
That is where,
with the World Bank?
That is where, personally, in my own small way, I tell people, please get your voters card, belongs to a party. I have formally, in the past, I don't see party as a way I can change this country. But I get to understand very recently that if a leader must emerge to become a president, a governor, a chairman of my local government, that person will emerge through a beautiful nonsense procedure in the party. Yes, I am outside. I am craving for you to be our leader. But at the same time, I have realized that if my craving for you to be a leader is to come to reality, I must be a party member. Shall you get it? So, and if I don't like the beautiful nonsense that is being done in those parties that make Baba Sokpe, Iya Sokpe kind of nomination to be. Look at what happened in Lagos. You saw what happened in Lagos. That's why the fact that it's already a one-party system. Some people don't know that. Some people have been already anointed for that position. But they felt that, yes, when they get there, they will do the needful. It is not the first time. It happened in the days of Ambode that made Sanwo-Olu to come on board. It happened in the days of Fashola when Fashola was about to come for the second time. And the guy had to stand up and say, that is the case of Nigeria. Everything runs around our politics. I would beg us to do the needful by becoming a participant.
Now the first one is to get your voters card ready.
Even if they cut it anyhow, you know, right now we're talking about how do they come to this town that we are all bearing now. I know how much I'm paying for school fees now. I can never imagine I will pay such kind of money for school fees if I start giving back. Because my parents never pay all. I never attended any private school at all. I was a public boy from public primary school, public secondary school, public institution. But right now we are paying more. We can't even take our children to that public school. When you see the zinc coming down, opening, when it rains, the children will go to another one class. Everybody jump out there. You will cry for this future of this country. And you ask yourself, who are the leaders? And some people are getting funds to do. You ask states who have borrowed to create road and go to those roads they said they have created. Maybe 2 out of 15. You ask states that have borrowed for health facilities and go and check the health facilities there. Of recent, Adeyo was on strike not less than 3 times last year. And you want to take your wife there to deliver?
Aren't these the basics of governance?
My brother, you are doing yourself
healthcare.
That is it. See, basic facilities are what people are asking. We're not asking for too much. I'm not asking for a mattress, neither am I asking for a pillow. Just give me basic facilities. That is healthcare, road, and what? Maybe water.
Electricity.
We have Ministry of Water Resources. Maybe you have, I don't know.
The water.
In your own house, maybe the water is running. I use bowl. I put it there myself. I know how much it costs.
The basic things the government is meant to provide for the people.
Not doing anything.
People have actually been providing for themselves.
Yes.
Nigerians are digging boreholes in their homes.
Yes.
Nigerians are providing solar panels.
Yes.
They are installing solar power in their homes.
Yes.
And then you see them on Saturday mornings clearing the road on their streets, making sure that it is motorable. These are the responsibilities of the government. And now it has been passed down to the people to do by themselves. And then what's the point of having a government?
And they are collecting money. And these are the things they go out there to ask for.
Why do we have people in power?
This is what they write out for loan that they want to use the loan for. They want to use the loan for. And you know there is money in construction. They will tell you they want to construct a 1,300 kilometer road from Igbora to Igboho to they will give the, you know, if it is to be done, the circular road we all talk about in Ibadan should have been completed by now.
Well, I want you to, well, let's just go away from that. Let's just digress to this. And that's a big one from, not a big one, especially from these days newspaper, Ruwani is talking. Maybe these are part of steps the federal government should take just for us to get out of the debt we are. Nigeria has too many underutilized airports. Do you see a way where our government, either state or federal, could come together and do something so that we'll have enough resources to take us out of poverty?
You know, if they don't announce infrastructure they want to put money in, you don't get to understand that they are spending. Why will Ekiti, Ondo, Osun, Ogun be building airport almost at the same time? Why? To do what? Who is coming there? Where? It's of no use. But because they know
isn't an airport a basic facility for each state to have?
No, you don't. Lagos to Ibadan. If Ibadan is closer to Osun, then let the road be motorable. People can come in here. We have rail. Let our rail be functioning that can also deliver goods there. We have, they are talking about port, they are talking about port depot. What do you call them now? Is it
dry port?
Dry ports. And these are ways they use to siphon money because you cannot really account for it. It is telling on the people's face. Go to the street, you see the face of the people. Everybody is beggar. Is there an executive beggar or a corporate beggar? Everybody is not beggar, even in church. The way pastors and religious leaders now call for money is so alarming. Why will you put money in things that is why this man is telling you that many of them are, and at the end of the day, if this man leaves this office, the next governor will come in, will say, no, I'm not continuing that. They will make it abandoned. We have a lot of abandoned projects.
Why do governors, why do local government chairmen, why do presidents come into office and abandon projects?
Bad policy, bad politics. It is politicking. It is just that they want to write their name somewhere. If you only write your name in the heart of people, people are talking about what he will date. I have never met him while he was in government or anything. I understand that when he died was when I was about to open my eyes very well. But the truth of the matter is that what he has done still lingers on. The project he has put on board still speak for himself. We have read books of Nnamdi Azikiwe. We have seen that of Sedana. We have seen that of Shehu Musa Yaradua. That was in our own time. Even very for just 2 years. We've seen what the man was able to do. So the truth of the matter is that write your name in the heart of the people, not on the screen, not putting a plaque on the wall to say that I've commissioned this.
Now let's talk politics.
Abandoned projects are in Ibadan too that has been commissioned that yet to be completed. When you get to those places, you'll be alarming. That so governor could come to this aid, to this level, and commission this road that is yet to be completed.
Away from that, politics.
Let's talk politics this morning. Over the weekend, Wike, Ikpeazu, Ogwuanyi, Otom attended PDP governors meeting. Now, Saraki, Tambuwa, Lamido, Oyinlola, Udom also were in attendance, but there were omissions. There are people who actually did not attend for one reason or the other. Governor of Bayelsa State, Doye Diri, was not there. Siminalayi Fubara, the governor of Rivers State, suspended governor of Rivers State, was not there. Eno of Akwa Ibom was not there. There are so many Kefas too. There are so many people that were not there that you would ask questions. Why were they not at the meeting? But then Wike, who has a job with the FCT, has a job with the current administration of the APC, still sat with the PDP governors and said, "This is our party. Let's discuss what exactly is going on."
That is the politics that is played in Nigeria. That is the very politics that is played, that is making everybody to stand still. And by the time you want to change your position, you have to look left and right properly. Know that where you are sitting is comfortable enough to speak. You see, in this country, the people that are not there may have their genuine. You understand that they are also making moves to bring every person available in the PDP into APC. You can understand. Fubara is end up becoming a member of the APC because he has no other place. He's looking out for the good face of the president.
Well, he said he's not desperate. That he's even tired of
he said his spirit has left the office. He said it yesterday.
And that was the political talk. He has to say something. You know, there was a time the wife of the president visited the state and was to be represented by the speaker, wife of the speaker. And that woman now delegated the responsibility to the sitting administrator, the sole administrator, and the people revolt. It was because the people rejected it. If not, it will have been that the woman representing the president will just take it like that. So that is the politics that is stopping so many developmental projects in our country. What is Wike doing Wike is already known to be partisan. A former PDP aspirant or candidate said that this party, although he too has joined the APC, and that was Jandor of Lagos State. He said,
we are even heading to Lagos State after this.
He said while he was at the meeting and he saw many of the people who betrayed the party talking about the party, that how is this going to develop the party. And I was telling him on his page that you learn the party politics in Nigeria before entering into the politics, and that is just the position Nigeria is right now.
Well, lastly, before we leave this segment of the show this morning, let's talk about politics in Lagos State.
It should be in a quick form.
Very quick. Okay. Let's talk about politics in Lagos State. On Saturday, the primary elections in Lagos State for the chairmanship positions in all local governments was conducted. But then there has been a lot of backlash. People are complaining. I saw a video clip of a woman who was visibly raging and angry that for the third time, I think, she has been asked to step down for someone. And then there are insinuations in some quarters that it is this Baba Sokwe kind of thing that happened in Lagos State over the weekend. That it wasn't an election per se. In fact, there was a point when they said a particular candidate actually came to the venue of the primaries together with the delegates. They came in the same car. And some people are already seated, open to contest against him. But he came with the delegates. So what happened in Lagos State over the weekend?
There are people that are talking right now should understand that Lagos is owned by just one person. Let us go back to history. The days of those Obanikoro, the days of Obanikoro, the days of people who Benga Ogulisi, the man from Ekpe, the days of Sanwo-Olu, the days of
Williams.
Before the Williams.
So there has been an imprint. A fingerprint of one individual.
Yes, you see, the Lagos people in their party should understand that they are not there for any change. The man that make these changes at the top there, and he decide. He will tell you your history. You see, that was why I used to tell people, cut me, and you can come and defend it. I said, whoever becomes the governor in Lagos State does not own the people. He is not the owner of any person. Someone who cannot today go to his local government and contest for councillor and win. Papa gave him all the party members that voted him.
All right, thank you so much. That's much we can take on newspaper review.
That takes us away from this.
All right, thank you so much for coming on the program. All right.
That next time we call you, will be here.
This is my home.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much.
Very quickly, we'll link up with Morayo Lua Akintoba for Trend Watch this morning. Morayo, good morning to you. How are you doing?
How are you doing this morning?
Hello, good morning.
Hope you're fine.
I'm doing great. How are you?
You look stunningly beautiful this morning.
Thank you so much.
Let's give you flowers.
That's what Samson is supposed to give me this morning, and he's giving it to you. I'm jealous.
We'll give you your flowers.
Thank you.
All right, okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
we know
Pat,
there's a lot to
doing?
unpack on the show.
Sorry?
We said we know that there's a lot to unpack on the show this morning.
Trust that I have good gist for you.
All right.
I know
a
now,
lot happened over the weekend.
But you're not Tatafu, you're not Ameboboe.
No, I'm not.
Do your thing.
All right,
All right. Thank
Bye.
you so much. Good morning and welcome to Trend Watch. My name is Morayo Olua, here to give you the gist of all that is happening on social media. And over the weekend, we had Tola Odunsi and Enando as they tied for them. Not only did they tie the knot on Saturday, they also are expecting their first child together. It was a beautiful ceremony filled with, celebrities like Sharon Oja, Bisola Ayola, Shola Shobowale was also in attendance. And like I said, they are expecting their first child together. I'm very happy for them, as their love story is one of friendship, is one of dedication through the years, and love is deep in them. I wish them all the best, and congratulations on their first child together. Moving on this morning to the AMVCAs, as celebrities came out and showed off. It was beautiful over the weekend. I saw different looks, and you know that when Nigerian celebrities want to show up, they show off. And so celebrities came dressed in their best for the awards, from Osas Igodaro, who was dressed in Vicky James with her Earth-themed outfit, which is the theme of the AMVCAs. They all looked beautiful, to be honest. I can pick a best look. Bimbo Ademoye as well in this beautiful pink outfit. They just showed up and showed off. Nigerian celebrities, Nollywood, came out this weekend to show us that they are not playing. And so you see that they came out, they showed up, they showed off. They looked good, they looked amazing, and I'm happy with all the looks. But trust that even though they came out to show up in their best, we had some interesting looks. We did have some interesting looks. Pretty Mike came in a robotic suit, and the theme was Earth. I need to understand how that plays. What is this, sir? Papaya also, came in her banana outfit, and I said, wow, ma'am, did you not read the theme? Are you not aware of the theme? Also, we had Desmond Elliott in his, I don't know what word to place it as. This is an interesting look. Again, the theme was Earth, and sir, elephant, Earth, and this big skirt. I don't get it. I don't get it. But yes, like I said, we had some very interesting looks, and we hope that, subsequently, Nigerians learn to follow theme. We see that with the Met Gala and Oscars and the Grammys and all of that. There's a theme that they follow, and AMVCAs also had a theme. So I'm wondering why some people decided they don't want to follow the theme. But moving on this morning to the winners of the awards. Best Actress in a Drama, we have Chioma Chukwuka, or Chioma Chukwuka, as people like to call her. And I'm very happy for her, because in the movie Seven Doors, she gave her best. She poured herself into that role, and this is no surprise that she won the award for Best Lead Actress. We also have Femi Adebayo, who also won Best Lead Actor for the same movie. He showed up in that movie, gave his best. You trust that, you know, this award was well deserved, and I'm happy for him as well. Moving on to the next award. Moving on to the next award, we have Best Supporting Actress Mercy Aigbe in the movie A Farmer's Bride. As always, this award was well deserved. She gave her best. She left Mercy Aigbe at the door, and she gave us the Best Supporting Actress in The Farmer's Bride. Moving on this morning also to Best Supporting Actor, we have Gabriel Afolayan. And funny, in just one scene in this movie, Inside Life, or a series rather, Inside Life, and he gave his best. You trust that he gave his best, and that scene earned him, and I'm happy for him. Also, we have Best Content Creator, Digital Content Creator, Iyo Prosper. Big ups to him, because, you know, this year he just, you know, started coming out, and he won this award just in his first year of putting himself out there. And finally, we have Best Director. Okay, sorry, Best Movie. And congratulations to all the actresses and, you know, the cast and the crew of this movie. Best Director, we have Awa Apwa. Congratulations to all the winners of, you know, the AMVCA awards. We pray next year, and, you know, more people come to limelight as well. That is all I have for you on Trend Watch this morning. Back to Samson and Pat in the studio.
Well, Morayo, there's a lot to talk about, especially about, but then I'll be linking up with Pat to do that. Talking about the AMVCA, Pat, what exactly was your high point at the AMVCA as regards the awards? Because Femi Adebayo actually won big. Also, Gabriel Afolayan, also Mercy Aigbe too. Chioma. A lot of Chioma. You know, it's for a movie like Seven Doors, it was actually, you know, something really important for Femi Adebayo to actually win something.
Yes, but I wasn't expecting much, but I really felt that the Seven Doors is going to be big, will make it big at the event. And seeing Femi Adebayo winning that award, I was like, whoop!
Congratulations.
Congratulations to him.
You can talk about Lisha B, the uprising too.
Lisha B, I really don't see much about Lisha B. It's a story that we've been told when we're still small, but that Seven Doors really held onto my spirit, because seeing Chioma Chukwuka Porter in that movie, and she's an Igbo girl, and coming to, like,
spoke Yoruba fluently,
and a mixture of Igbo, a bit. So it's
no, I think that the Igbo she actually you know, add there was just to, you know, still make you understand that this is my identity.
This is my identity, yeah. And of course, the love,
and it was deliberate by the producer actually.
And then one thing I say, it's love. It's a big thing. It does not matter if you are from one tribe to another.
Absolutely right.
Once you are in love with somebody, definitely you love that person with all your heart.
Everything.
So.
All right,
say big congratulations to all the winners.
To all the winners, congratulations to you. All right, that takes us away to the next segment of the show this morning. Don't forget, the show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Do well to drop your comments, be a part of the conversation on all social media platforms, especially for YouTube. Subscribe to that channel, drop your comments, be a part of the conversation. Also link up with us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominioncast. And don't forget, you can also watch us live on our website, dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Let's go on a short break, and when we return, we'll go straight to sports this morning. Keep it locked on this dial.
Hello, many thanks for joining us on Daybreak Sports this lovely Monday morning. Of course, it's another beautiful day to talk sport once again. And of course, we'll be kickstarting this morning from the Nigerian Premier Football League, where Rivers United yesterday and Abia Warriors confirmed their place on the continent with a game to spare. Let me inform that both teams will, however, have to wait until the final day of the season to determine their eventual position on the table. Rivers United are currently sits second on the table of the NPFL, while Abia Warriors occupy the third spot with 60 points. Rivers United confirmed their place in the top three despite going down 3-1 against Kwara United in Ilorin yesterday. In the city of Umuahia yesterday, let me inform the Abia Warriors recorded a 2-1 victory over El Kanemi Warriors. Of course, for Sunshine Stars down the table, well, they've been confirmed relegated following their 2-1 home loss to Niger Tornadoes. Let's take a look at the other results from the NPFL at the weekend. Remo Stars 4-1 victory over Ikorodu City, and of course, after that particular match, they were handed their trophy. Of course, the NPFL trophy. Benin Insurance also won by a single goal against Heartland Football Club. Plateau United were 2-1 better than Lobby Stars. Eyimba lost away at Lafia against Nasarawa United. 3-2 it ended. There were wins for Kwara United. Rangers, Kano Pillars defeated Shooting Stars 3-1. Niger Tornadoes 2-1 better than Sunshine. Abia Warriors also got the better of the Kanemi Warriors 2-1, and Akwa United defeated Bayelsa by a single goal. Let's take a look at what the table looks like at the moment. Like I mentioned earlier, Remo Stars, of course, champions already. 71 points is what they have. Rivers United second, 61. Like I mentioned earlier, Remo Stars and Rivers United will represent Nigeria in the CAF Champions League next season. Abia Warriors also booked a place on the continent. They will represent Nigeria in the CAF Confederations Cup. Now, the fourth team, or let me say the second team that represents us in the Confederations Cup, will emerge after the finals of this year's, of course, the ACS President Federation Cup. Now, let's go down the ladder. As you can see, Lobby Stars now join Sunshine Stars in the red line, which means they've been confirmed relegated. They're expecting 2 more teams to join them, and that will be determined later on next weekend. Let's move away from the NPFL. Let's talk about Nigerian National League, where matches were equally played in the Nigerian National League at the weekend. Let's take a look at them on your screen. Crown FC Football Club returned to winning ways, and courtesy of that, they are still third on the table as we speak. But still with the same point as Smart City, who are second, because Smart City also won their game at the weekend at home as well. Smart City won away from home against Ijele Football Club 2-0. Crown FC won against Igbajo by a single goal. Don't forget that the top 2 teams will qualify for the season-ending Super 8. So it's important for Crown FC to keep that particular momentum. Well, for Crown FC, their next game is against the Kada Football Club next weekend. Now, let's move away from the Nigerian National League. Let's talk about the Nigerian Women Football League this morning. Bayelsa Queens head coach White Ogbonda says that his team is motivated to come out tops at the 2025 Nigerian Women Football League. The Super 6 currently going on. The Prosperity Girls, of course, started their campaign on a winning note, edging past Rivers Angels 1-0 in Ikene on Saturday. Alaba Olabi scored the winning goal in the 34th minute for the Prosperity Girls. Bayelsa Queens will next take on Nasarawa Amazons in their next game on Monday. Let's take a look at the results of the Super 6 matches played at the weekend. As you can see on your screen, Nasarawa United 2-1 better than Nigeria Rattlers. Bayelsa Queens got the better of Rivers Angels by a single goal. And Edo Queens lost to Remo Stars Lady by a single goal. Let's take a look at the table as we speak. Nasarawa Amazons are topping, followed by Bayelsa Queens, Remo Stars, Nigeria Rattlers, Edo Queens, and then Rivers Angels are left bottom as we speak. Now, activities return today. Let's take a look at fixtures today in Ikene. Nasarawa Amazons will take on Bayelsa Queens, Remo Stars Ladies versus Nigeria Rattlers, and the Rivers Angels will take on Edo Queens. From Nigeria, let's go straight to Egypt, where Flying Eagles head coach Ali Zubair has confirmed that Senegal will make life difficult for his side in their quarterfinal fixture at the 2025 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations. Now, Nigeria will clash against Senegal later on today. Senegal defeated Nigeria 1-0 in the group stage 2 years ago. And one thing that will be in the mind of the Flying Eagles is that they want revenge. Let's take a look at the screen this morning and take a look at those that will be playing today. We have South Africa taking on DR Congo today, Nigeria, Senegal, and we also have Morocco taking on Sierra Leone, and of course Ghana taking on Egypt. Those 4 quarterfinal games will be played also today. Well, let's move away from that, even as we wish our Flying Eagles all the best. Let's go to basketball this morning, where Nigeria's D Tigers have been pitted against holders Tunisia, Cameroon and Madagascar in Group B of the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket tournament, set to hold from the 12th of August to the 24th of August in Angola. The draw for the championship was held in the Angolan capital, Luanda, on Friday. The draws for all 16 teams were made according to a seeding system based on the FIBA World Rankings. And of course, the ceremony was attended by several African basketball legends. And there you have on your screen Group A that has Cote d'Ivoire, DR Congo, Cape Verde, and of course Rwanda. Group B also has Tunisia, Madagascar, Nigeria, of course Cameroon right there. Group C, and of course Group D. Because of our time, let's leave basketball and talk the Italian Open this morning, where Emanuela Raducanu produced an impressive comeback to beat Veronica and of course set up an intriguing fourth-round meeting with Coco Gauff at the Italian Open. Britain's Raducanu defeated the Russian 5-7, 6-love, 6-1 in the topsy very difficult match played in Rome yesterday. Raducanu will face a tough test against a fellow former US Open champion Gauff, who reached the Madrid Open final earlier in May. Let's take a look at the results on your screen from day 6. Yesterday, and of course Fuse knocking out Stefanos Tsitsipas, Sabalenka knocking out Kenin, Alcaraz knocking out Jerry, Gauff knocking out Lynette, amongst many other results that we saw in the Italian Open, of course, yesterday. Let's quickly take a look at this on our screen, and that's talking about the NBA. Let me inform you that the Oklahoma City Thunder versus Denver Nuggets semi-final series is now tied following OKC's 92-87-point victory in the early hours of today. Of course, Sean Alexander with the big win for them. Well, the Cavaliers, of course, right now, they are on the losing end. They are now 3-1 down against the Indiana Pacers, courtesy of their loss this morning, 109 to 129 points for the Pacers to take a 3-1 series lead in the conference. And of course, there you have the current chart in the NBA playoffs as we speak in the Western Conference and of course the Eastern Conference. Well, let's move straight to the world of football this morning, where Arsenal fought back from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 against Premier League champions Liverpool at Anfield Stadium yesterday, despite finishing the game with 10 men. The draw means that Arsenal remains second in the league table on 68 points with 2 matches left to play this very season. Well, away from that particular match, let's take a look at Chelsea. The hopes of Chelsea qualifying for next season's Champions League football actually suffered a setback, after they lost 2-0 against Newcastle United at the St. James's Park yesterday. Now, the loss left Chelsea in 5th place with 63 points, while Newcastle United climbed up to 3rd spot with 66 points in the league table. Of course, Enzo Maresca's men had to play most of that particular game without Nicholas Jackson, who was shown a straight red card early on in that game. Very important result we also saw was Southampton, who salvaged a point in a surprising goalless draw against Manchester City on Saturday. That means they avoided being the joint worst team in the history of the Premier League. Don't forget that the team that has that record happens to be Derby County, who had just 11 points in the 2007-2008 season. But courtesy of the draw, Southampton now have 12, so they won't end the season as the worst team ever. Of course, Manchester United were also in action as well at the weekend. Well, their poor home form in the Premier League actually continued as West Ham United defeated the Red Devils 2-0 at Old Trafford. Now, the visitors took the lead in the 26th minutes of the game thanks to a tap-in from a few yards out from Thomas Soucek. And of course, West Ham United doubled their lead at Old Trafford after the break. After a break when Jared Bowen, of course, is swift home a clinical counter-attack in that particular encounter. And of course, quite a lot to talk about. But then let's take a look at what the race looks like at the moment. Now, let's take a look at it on your screen. Now, back to the Premier League, actually. Back to the Premier League, because we have a race in front of us. I mean, about 6 teams will be making it, 5 teams rather, will be qualifying to the Champions League automatically. Yes, in England, Liverpool already qualified. Now, the race is between Arsenal, Newcastle, Man City, and of course, Chelsea, to know the 4 teams that will join Liverpool. Now, let's take a look at the race right now. Arsenal have a tough one against Newcastle and Southampton. That's their last 2 matches. They must win those games before they can go through. Newcastle also have a big headache against Arsenal and Everton. Manchester City also against Bournemouth and Fulham. Chelsea will play Man United and Nottingham Forest. Aston Villa also in the mix. They will face Tottenham and Manchester United, while Nottingham Forest have a date with West Ham and Chelsea Football Club. Well, that's sports this morning. Back to Samson and Parts.
Well, Manchester United being in that position on the log really is the low of the weekend. And then to now know that they even lost to they lost to West Ham United, 2 goals to nothing. Where does that place Manchester United as a football club in England as we speak?
You know, I think I should just take the quote of their coach, Ruben Amorim, saying that should United take this form into the next season, he might need to step down as the coach of Manchester United. And that tells you how bad it is, not just for the fans alone, but for the players and the technical crew. When your manager, who only recently joined you, is saying, if you continue this way to next season, I will have to step down. It says a lot about the club. And one thing that will only console United fans, not like it will make their season better, but will console them if they win the Europa League this season. And that's one thing they have to do, to say thank you to their fans for staying true to them all season.
Well, Ruben Amorim was brought on board to actually turn things around for Manchester United. Seems like he has made matters worse at United. Now, the question is it football related, or there is something much bigger than that at Old Trafford that people are not really seeing, just like Ronaldo said before he left?
There has to be something more than football happening at Old Trafford at the moment. Ronaldo came the other day and said it. We didn't pay attention to that. And look at Ruben Amorim. He was coming with a fantastic record to Manchester United. But United turned his records around. You know what I'm talking about, right? They've changed his record, his history. And that's why the man is considering stepping down. So a lot of fundamental issues to address at Old Trafford, honestly.
All right, thank you, Bolu, for being a part of the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here. All right, the show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, but then we have to go. As we promised you earlier, we said we had a lot to unpack on the show, and we have really done that on the show this morning. The show is Daybreak Live. Don't forget, you can watch again and again on our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast. Subscribe to that channel, drop your comment, be a part of the conversation. Also do well to link up with us on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast. You can also watch our subsequent shows and even Daybreak Live tomorrow on our website at www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. But before we go, let me leave you with this. It's a new week. And of course, new week, new mindset, new result starts strong today. Because what you do today sets the tone for tomorrow and the week at large. Thank you for being a part of the show. Samson Balogun is my name.
All right, without you, we won't be here. So we appreciate you so much for being part of us this morning. Well, I will align my own quote with what Samson Balogun just said. Monday is a fresh start, so a new chance to write your story. Do you have a productive day? Good morning. I am Pat Aito.